It's that time again. Hey, Patty, can you hear me okay? I think I'm all set up and ready to roll. Let me just check on my laptop and see if I'm on here as well. Good, good. Thanks, Patty. Huh. Maybe I need to refresh my laptop here. I can see the comments on the laptop just a little bit better than when I'm on here. Oh yeah. Okay. Well, it's coming up. Okay. Good deal. I've been before I start what we're supposed to do today, I want to just show you these little tiny burrows that I'm working on. I am just crazy about these little guys. I'm doing these out of metal clay, and I'm planning on making earring pairs and charms and stuff like that, but I've still got to clean all these guys up. But I really like them a lot. I just think they're quirky and kind of fun, so kind of like the chicken feet. But anyway, so I'm going to have to set that aside. Hey, Wendy. I'm going to set that aside and get started with today's demo. I have absolutely no idea how this is all going to go because I have a lot of pounding and annealing, and I guess what happens happens. So I just hope we don't get cut off because sometimes that happens on Facebook. But I guess we'll deal with it if it happens. Okay, burrows have to go bye-bye. Okay, so today we're going to do some very simple form folding. I haven't done a ton of it, to be honest, but it intrigues me, and I know that it's a pretty cool process, actually. But I haven't really delved into it as much as maybe I could, you know. But there's always time to do that. Anyway, I will show you what I have done so far. I'm not going to solder anything on today other than, hi Suzanne, other than a bail, which is just actually a copper washer. Not anything spectacular. But anyway, here are a few of the pieces that I've done. And these are the ones I had featured for the demo. I did not patina these yet, but I just wanted to show you the difference. Most of you know what the difference is in the patina, but today we're going to make, hopefully we're going to make the leaf and the heart. This is something I had done previously, these others, and you know, there's just a ton of different things that you could do if you were so inclined. But these are just very, very simple. You know, this is just one fold form line, and this is two that intersect. And this one was 3, I guess, and then I soldered on a few little cabochons just to give it a little pop. Hey, Carol. Okay, so these are the plans for today, these two here. And I'm going to start off by doing the leaf. I have a nice handout for you when this is all over with pictures and steps that you can refer back to. And I'm going to have to get up quite a bit, I think. Well, maybe not quite a bit, but some, because my bench vise is behind me on my workbench, and it's bolted down, so I couldn't move it over here to this work table. So I am going to have to get up and do that, but I think I've got it covered with the camera. I will take that with me when I go over there so you can see what I'm doing. And as always, if we get disconnected or something, if Facebook does weird things to us, just hang in there for a second and see if it reconnects. If it doesn't, then jump out of the group and then come back in and you should be okay. So, oh, you didn't get notified again, Jennifer? You know, I don't know what's up with Facebook, but it has issues because my notifications are all screwed up too. I got notified last night about 10:30 for Francesca's video that she did yesterday at 1 o'clock. So what's up with that? You know, I don't have a clue. So life is busy, you know, but if you can maybe put it on your calendar or set an alarm or something for 2:30 on Wednesdays, that's when I'm here. So, but you shouldn't have to do that if Facebook has the notifications. They're just not reliable. So sorry about that. Okay, so I'm going to start with the leaf. I'll put this aside. And what I did is I'm using these skeleton leaves. They are both called skeleton leaves or rubber tree leaves. And I got them in a pack. Gosh, I don't know, there's like 100 in here. I doubt that I'll ever use them all, but they're pretty fragile. But these are actually a little bit bigger than I had wanted, but I couldn't find them this size. But these are still okay, even if it's large. You can cut them out and alter them to the size that you need, as long as you've got that main leaf vein in here. You can kind of just cut around it, so, and you can still get the shape. So that's what I use for the leaves. I'm going to ask Gwen Youngblood if she has any leaf patterns on the Rolling Mill Resources for her paper patterns, because if she does not, I'm going to ask her if she will make some leaves in different sizes. I think that would be very cool to have. I have found using these that I don't usually anneal the metal first, because I buy dead soft copper when I buy it, so it generally goes through the rolling mill no problem. But these leaves are so delicate that I tried pressing one without annealing, and it was very, very faint. And I also used the foam backing on there, and then I got the imprint of the foam, which I never do generally. So then I did another one, and I annealed it, and I passed the leaf through it, you know, on top of it like that, through the rolling mill, and it came out great. So this is, if you can see that, yeah, you can see that. That impression came out pretty good. I had the mill set a little bit too tight, so it elongated it a little bit, stretched the metal a little, but actually it's going to be okay. But in a perfect world, I wouldn't have stretched it. This was 22 gauge. This is 22 gauge, and I'm choosing 22 gauge for this because if you don't have, for these I have to cut them out with metal shears. So 22 gauge with the metal shears is not a problem, or you know, with hand strength. Sometimes if you cut 20 gauge with metal shears, your hands can get really tired. It's hard to do that. Although if you anneal the metal, it will help somewhat. But that's why I chose it. You could probably do 24 also. There again, it depends on the project, I guess, of what you're doing. But for the things that that I had already shown, these projects that I had made, These are all 22 gauge. And, you know, they're substantial enough. So I think that's fine. All right, so I've already rolled this, so I don't really need to roll another piece through the rolling mill. If you don't have a rolling mill, very good question, Ruth Ann. If you don't have a rolling mill, you can freehand draw, or if you find a leaf template somewhere or a picture that you can cut out and make a little template for, a little pattern for, you can do that. So you would just, you know, put that on your metal, trace around it, and then you could cut out your leaf. And then to design, to texture your leaf, you can use metal design stamps or texture hammers. So that way you can get a nice texture, design, whatever in there. On this one, I don't know if you can see it up close. This, I took a texture hammer. This did not go through the rolling mill. I took a texture hammer and just made a bunch of lines in there. And that's okay, you know, or you could take, like I said, any of the design stamps and kind of, you know, decorate it however you want. Yeah, this is another one that just has the lines and dots stamped in there. So it works out. So you don't necessarily have to have a rolling mill. That's just if you want to use these skeleton leaves. Otherwise, they're really not functional for you if you don't have a mill in that capacity. So, okay. So that's that. And I'll put these leaves away so I don't bend them and crush them, fold them, whatever. Let's put those out of the way. So, and then I have resources, or I always say, it's resources. I say references all the time when I'm telling you about the handout. I always say I have references on the handout, and it's really resources. So, but I'm sure you get the idea. So, okay, so I've got my leaf, and I'm going to cut that out. All right. Put my eyeballs on here. All right, so this one is annealed, so it does cut even nicer. But I'm just getting right on the edge of the leaf. And the other thing too, while I'm thinking about it, when you are doing your leaf, if you want to, here, on this one, I cut a tab. I had made this tab a little bit longer because I wanted to roll that over like that. You can see that okay? So leave yourself enough room on your sheet of copper that you can make a longer stem if you want to roll the leaf over as a bale. You know, that's a great way to hang your piece up if you wanted to do that. I didn't really know what to do with this, and I hadn't had any beads or anything on it, but I think this piece requires a little bit of decoration. I don't know that this is the thing, but I just put it on there for an example. Okay. The other one that I did, the other leaf, I just made a little tab up here, rounded it out, and then just punched a hole in there and used that as my hanging hole. So you have that option, or you can make a bale if you're real creative, you know, solder one on or whatever. But I'm just keeping it simple on this. It's more about learning the technique really than the design at this point for me. So, okay, so that's that for the leaves. And this one I hadn't really thought about it when I did it. So I guess this is just going to get a hole punched in here, but that's okay. But I really like how that leaf texture turns out. It's really pretty, and once the patina is on there, it really pops. So there's that. Okay, so I'm finished cutting my leaf out, and then I'm going to move over to the bench vise. Keep all your scraps. You can do lots of things, even with a piece this size. You can cut a couple of discs or something. And the cleaner you cut, the less filing you have to do, if you can do that. Okay, so that came out okay. I'm going to take my bench block, and I guess I left my mallet on the other bench. It's all right. I'm just gonna flatten those points out a little bit. And these little points are sharp, so be careful while you're doing all this, while you're handling it. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to go over to the bench vise, and I'm going to line it up with this horizontal leaf right here and then fold it over. So I'm going to unplug my phone and carry you guys over there with me, and hopefully it will work. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Okay. Now, I've got to just get us lined up here. Okay. All right, so I've got my leaf, and I'm going to put the leaf into the jaws of the plier and just put it up to this point right here. Now this is kind of my own idea here. I don't know if it's a traditionally done thing or not, but I just thought this made sense. All right, so I've got the line right in the jaws of the plier, and I'm just going to take my mallet and just fold that half down. Okay. All right, so it looks like that right now. I'm going to open the jaws up a little bit more, and I'm going to put the whole piece in there so it can close, totally close on itself. I can do this without closing my fingers in there. Yeah, that's good. So this kind of takes some of the work out of it by just squeezing it together with the bench vise. So now it looks like that. And I'm going to, this isn't very stable, I'm just going to hammer back here. Now you have a choice when you're putting this in the vise of either putting it with the design facing you or the design facing away from you, which would result in the vein, that fold vein, either would be an innie or an outie. So, you know, that's totally up to you. And you might want to experiment with that a little bit before you make your choice. So just hit it a little bit more. And now I have to anneal this because now, you know, the next step is to pry this apart. And now that the metal is all hard, that's not going to happen easily or at all. So I'll put you back here. And get my, I wish I had everything in the same place, but it's just too hard to do. I don't have a lot of, I have table space, but it's occupied. So, all right, so I'm going to take my torch and everything ready here. I've got my fire brick that I'm going to torch on. And you have to be careful too with some of these solder surfaces, at least in my experience. Sometimes you can have a little bit, like maybe miss a solder chip or something, and if it's embedded in one of these little divots in here, it's going to get on your metal. So you want to make sure that there is nothing on your block that could make that happen. Ask me how I know. All right, so now I'm annealing the metal just to soften it up a little bit. That's all that annealing is doing here, softening it up. And that'll make it so that I can open it up. Okay. Quench that in some water. And now I'm going to take 2 flat nose pliers. Sit down again. Okay. Now I'm going to take 2 flat nose pliers. Hi, Diane. Yeah, I just was talking about that a couple minutes ago. A lot of us aren't getting our notifications. So if you discover something and want to pass it along, we'd appreciate it. All right, so now I'm going to pry this open. Trying to figure out how to do this so that you can see. Once you get it open enough, then you can start hammering it and it'll open up better for you. Now, I did not have a stem on here to make a rolled bale, but that's okay. Boy, that is sharp. And like I was saying when I was standing over at the vise with that seam, see how the seam is on the back here? That's on the back of the leaf, and then, you know, it's open in the front. So so that's an innie, and if you did it the reverse way that I was saying, then you'd have that vein in the center of the top. And actually, I kind of think that might look really nice. I should probably do my next one like that, just to see how that would look. And also with the leaf, it's nice to get some kind of dimension to it, you know, so you can play with it with your pliers. At this point, it's pretty hard again. to move it with your fingers. But if you have any kind of metal stakes, you can take a rubber mallet or a rawhide mallet and use a stake and kind of, let's see here, there's one here. This is not really the right stake that's on here, but you know, you can kind of move your metal with that and make some little curves and dips. Or you could just move this also on your bench block here and pound that down just a little bit if you don't want so much of a steep curve to it. But you can kind of play with it and decide what you like. There's also baling pliers that you can make a little dimension out of those with those too, without gouging your metal. You don't want to gouge it and leave marks. But you know, you can do that. I'm going to stick this in the pickle now, and actually, probably what I should have done, I guess I'll try to remember that for the heart. You could decal these edges, which I think is a nice look. And by that, I think you've seen me do this before, is just go around your edge. I'll make sure I do that for sure with the heart, because it's harder to do now because of the way that it's folded. But that is a simple fold. That is just a one fold item. And then you can kind of do whatever you want with it. But I'm going to stick it on the heart. Okay, that'll clean it all up. Oh. Ruth Ann says, I have a used old dinner knife to open. Works well. That's a great idea. That is a great idea. The idea is to just be careful whether you're using the knife or pliers, is to just be careful, because you could slip pretty easily and then and slice yourself, and you don't want to do that. Also, while I'm thinking about it, if anybody knows how to remove a video from our group page, I would greatly appreciate that, because the other day when I was trying to do the lampwork demo, I was setting the camera up over my lampwork station and just kind of testing it out. And I figured, well, I just blow those off, you know, and I, you know, that I could do that, but I can't. So I've got 3 very strange but short videos on the media page, and I really would like to get rid of those. So if anybody knows how to do that, I can't find any settings. I've looked on my phone on Facebook. I've looked on my laptop on Facebook in the settings. It seems like you can delete videos on your own page, but for some reason in the group, I can't do that. So yeah, Jennifer, if you can find it, I would ask, you know, if you want to look and see, but I couldn't find anything where I could edit or trash. So I'd really like to get those off. Yeah, I did look there, but I'll do it again, but I don't know. Technology can be a real pain in the butt sometimes. Okay, so now the leaf is underway, and let me regroup here. And for the heart, I've cut a piece of copper it's about two inches square. Yeah, I'd say it's about 2 inches square. And I textured this with a sunflower pattern through the rolling mill. And I'm going to do the heart with that. So that is how this heart was made. It's a different pattern, but I ran the sheet through the rolling mill first, to get the texture. And there again, if you don't have a rolling mill, you can use your design stamps or texture hammers and get a nice design that way. Okay, so for this one, this is a pretty simple one as well, but it has an extra fold in it. And then I soldered on a copper washer as an easy bail. So, you know, to me, a lot of this is just about doing things that aren't super intricate, or I mean, this isn't intricate at all. But I mean, I like to have things that are sort of instant gratification, and people like them. You know, they're kind of rustic looking, and I think it's probably better with a patina on it, but some people like shiny too. So, you know, that's totally up to you what you decide to do with your pieces. But you don't really need a lot of tools to do these things. So that's kind of cool. All right, so for this one, I am going to, again, take it over to the vise and fold it in half. Then I'm going to anneal it and then fold it and open it and then fold it in half the other way and anneal it. This is going to take a few annealings. And and then to get my heart, I've got a heart template that I'm going to use down here. So that, and I will anneal that again before I cut it because it's going to be really hard to cut it over the folds. So, so that is, oh, you know what? I got this template from Indian Jeweler Supply a few years ago, and they are no longer in existence. But perhaps, I mean, if you like the heart template like this, perhaps you can find one of these. Just do a Google search for heart templates and see what pops up. So I'm going to put that aside for now. And you know what? I did not anneal this, but I think it's still going to be okay. Let's just go on over to the bench vise. And I'm just going to eyeball it. I get in trouble sometimes from eyeballing, but it doesn't stop me. And if it's a little off center, that's okay, because nobody says it has to be a certain way, right? All right, so let me think about this. I'm going to hit it the opposite way for my first fold. Okay. Oops. Oh, that's way off. Oh well, it's okay. Like I said, it doesn't have to be any special way. All right. Okay, so that is folded. And we'll go anneal it now. Get my plastic out of the way here. Okay. Easy enough. The moose. I have a thing for moose. I don't know why, but I do. I have a lot of weird little quirky things that I like. All right, what am I doing? Oh, okay, here we go. Yeah, I have several moose around here. All right, so I'm going to open this up. Got some water in there. Going to open this up. This one's not as tight because it's a larger piece. So I've got my fold, my first fold there. And what I'm going to do to this one is pound this down a bit. Now, kind of a neat thing that you can do at this point, if you want, is you can take I've got one of these line embossing hammers, and I'm going to make little lines on the ridge. All right, and I'm going to anneal this again, and then we'll fold the other way. Alrighty. Get that nice and dry so I don't get my bench vise wet. Okay, move back over again. Whee! Yes, I have that moose. I'm going to show you my moose. My mooses. I only have a few. I have this big moose here. It's over my kiln. I got this guy at Hobby Lobby some years back, and I thought I would paint him, and I never got around to doing that. And then I have this little guy here on my lamp working station. And you can see all my messes too. And I got this moose down here, a bottle opener that I thought was kind of cool. So yeah, it's just a weird little quirky thing. All right, back to business. All right, so now I am going to put this in halfway again and pound it this way. This is a good way to take out any aggression you may have too. Actually, a better hammer might be better here a little bit. Okay, that's good. Okay, back to annealing again. All right. Okay. Alrighty. And quench. Oh no. Okay. I hate that. You get phone calls. Where did I get the metal thing I hammered on? That was a railroad track. That was a little section of a railroad track that I got at an antique store a while back and cleaned it up. So that was a great find. I got it for like $8 at an antique store. It's got some damage on it, but the surface that I pound on is fine, so I can live with that. Is that just a regular house brick? No, this is actually a fire brick. Gosh, I don't know where I got it, either Rio or Eurotool or someplace like that. They do crack sometimes, though. I guess that's like with any of them. So, okay, so here we go. All right, so I've got two nice fold lines right there. And I'm just going to flatten this out a little bit, just a little bit. And then I'm going to put those embossed lines in that as well. And then I'll put this in the pickle and I'll take the leaf out. And I'm just gonna do these little lines again. And I think I'll anneal it one more time and then clean it up. No, I think I'll anneal it and cut it and then clean it up. I think that would make sense. Okay, so I will anneal it. Sizzle, sizzle. Okay. Let's see here. I'm going to just check on questions right here. Yes, we all do have our weird, quirky little things. At least I hope other people do. Okay, Suzanne, we were traveling through the Rockies and the park rangers were moving a massive herd along the highway. Fantastic sight. Love moose. I would give anything to see that. I don't know why I like them, but I do. They are massive. They are massive. Fran says you can get fire bricks at a masonry supply. Who knew? Good. Thanks, Fran. Tractor Supply. Okay, cool. No, this one actually is a white brick. It has turned red from all the firing and the flux and stuff on there. So it did start off white. Yeah, I would like to pet one too, but I heard that they can be mean, Diane. I don't know. I mean, but I would like to. Yeah, I would like to. Okay. Yeah, the antlers are massive. They're, to me, they're just like a majestic animal. They really are. I wish I could find an impression die of a moose. Kevin Potter has a little tiny one. I bought it, but it's more like, gosh, the size of a button, a small button. And when you press it out, it turns out to be a good pressing, but you have to be, it's so small. You have to be like really close up to it to see it. So I would like to get a bigger one. I should mention it to him if he ever comes across one. I know that he gets lots of horses and different things, but a moose would be great. And I love that little burrow set. I showed it in the beginning of this demo video. These little silver burrows, and I don't know, that little burrows, goats, and moose I'm very fond of. So go figure. All right, so I'm going to just flatten this out a little bit. Sonny says, I have a pair of moose poo earrings, if you would like them. If they don't look like a moose, I'm okay. But thank you. Moose poo, I don't know. Although, you know, I do think I saw something in regards to, I think it was moose poo jewelry. It may be. Maybe it was. And it was really hilarious. But I saw it several years ago, so I don't remember. But it was something, I think it was something on Facebook that they posted. This person was selling like at a craft fair or something, and they had things made out of moose turd. So, oh well. Wendy, maybe Gwen, you know, she might. I'm going to ask her about the leaf. So I'll see if there's a moose that she can conjure up. Maybe she can. Okay, I just want to flatten this up just a little bit. I know I'm hardening it, but there were a little bit of waves in there that I don't want. All right, so we've got the cross section in there. I don't know if I'm going to be able to cut that or not with the shears. Let me see. I'll do a little, well, I might be able to. What I'm going to do then is trace my heart on the back side with, yeah, that's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. All right. I'm going to trace that out. Talking about moose poo. Boy. Okay. Did you guys see Francesca's post this morning, a little while ago, before her broadcast? She found a picture of William Dafoe, or Dafoe, I'm not really sure how you say his name, actor, Willem Dafoe, and look her up. If you're a friend of hers on Facebook, look it up. I roared when I saw it. It's a family picture of some random family with a bunch of kids, and they all have Willem Dafoe's face on them in different poses. To me, it was hilarious, but I'm a little weird that way. I gotta laugh, guys. I just have to laugh. That's like a minimum daily requirement for me. I have to have a bunch of laughs in one way or another. And if they're stupid, it's okay. Maybe all the better. The people who know me, they know. They know how I am. Well, that doesn't look so great. This is cutting fine. It's a little stiff over the fold lines, as I expected, but the alignment of the line to the tip of the heart isn't so cool, which I'll show you that in a minute. But, to each his own. There are some things I'm real anal about, having to be just so, and other things not so much. So I guess that's good. Yeah, it probably would have been better annealed again after I pounded that a little bit, but okay. So well, that is kind of weird down there on the bottom, but I can probably cut that off a little bit. I think I will. Some people are not, incoming. Some people aren't heart people, and that's okay. I mean, you can do any shape you want or whatever, this is just something I'm doing. And then I'm going to file this a little bit. There again. Maybe I will do that up here. I'm not a big one for hand filing. I like to take my piece over to the flex shaft and use a coarse grit rubber wheel. You will blow through those faster by doing this kind of job on that, but it saves a lot of time and aggravation to me. It's like nails on a chalkboard. I should use my new thing here, my new sanding stick. That actually has a nice width to it. This is a 1-inch Zona sanding stick, Zona. I mentioned it on last week's broadcast. They come in 1/2. I said 1.5 last week, but it's 1/2 and 1 inch. widths of the sanding stick. So I always make some blunder. I replay these later, these demos, and listen for all the mistakes I've made, or you know, whatever. Said the wrong thing, and then I think, oh gosh, I hope you guys know what I'm talking about. But the old gray mare ain't what she used to be, that's for sure. All right, well, the rest of it I may refine on that. Well, I could just do that right here if I turn it on. You should have eye protection on and a face mask when you're doing this, boys and girls. All right. So there's the heart, but I'm going to solder on that washer right now too. Oh, there's a little sharp part right there. All right. Stuff spits out all over you. That's why a mask is important. Do I have one on right now, you ask? I do not, but it was for a quick minute. Don't do like I did, though. You be smart and wear a face mask and eye protection. I have eye protection. All right, so, and you know, I'm doing them quick because these videos tend to last a while and I don't want to take up that much of your time. I am going to show you one neat trick with these washers. I have a particular stamp that I like. This is a Tree of Life. It can be any stamp. It doesn't have to be this one. But I like this one particularly because it's wide, it's large, and I can cover a bigger area. You cannot tell what the design is on the washer, of course. I'm just using it as a design texture. All right, so I'm going to put this on my bench block and give it a whack. 2 whacks, actually. And this stamp, this one was a Beeducation stamp, and this is a knurled, K-N-U-R-L-E-D, knurled edge on here, which is really, I talked about this a few demos back, that most of the stamps come without that. You know, they're just the shiny steel stock. But these that have the knurled edges on here, these, you can hold them really nicely. They tend to cost more. This one just came this way. There was no option, but I like knurled stamps if you can get them. Okay, so that little washer turned out like this, which I think is really cool. Okay, so that gave a nice texture all the way around in a very quick, short period of time. Now I'm going to solder the washer on. I've got some little titanium strips that I've used in other demos. that I'm going to hold up the washer with. All right, the ridges make a little bit of a difference, but I want to level this out. Make sure you put the washer on the decorated side out. Then I'm going to put a little solder paste on here. And get my handy dandy hummingbird. Or not. I'm working on this narrow edge, which is kind of stupid, but that's what I'm doing. Put it on from this direction. Just want to keep it stable, just so it stays down there. The solder paste always makes the smoke. That's normal. This is not good to breathe, this stuff, so you want to have good ventilation. I have fans blowing in here all the time when I'm working, and I also have a fume trap, so that helps. But it's nasty stuff, so you want to protect yourself. And yeah, this is red hot. I see it flowing on one side, but I don't see it on this side, so I may not have applied it very evenly. That's always a possibility. All right, where are my fires? That was actually getting the metal a little hotter, redder than you should. So I think one side is soldered and one is not. But we're going to proceed anyway. I can always solder it later. Oh, here we go again. Another phone call. But it's soldered on. Yeah, it needs to be patched up on the other side, but it is on for all intents and purposes right now. I am going to put this in the pickle, and we'll get the leaf out. Over here. Totsy totsy. I guess I have to get up for that. Okay, that's in. That's out. Okay. Okay. So I think on this, this actually would make a nice pin too, if you put a pin back on there. I think I'm just going to deckle this edge just a tiny bit. I should have, what should I have done? I should have done this before. I mentioned that. I should have deckled it before I turn the edges a little bit. But I think I'm just going to punch a hole in the end and put a a jump ring through it. And then if I want to add a bead or a couple beads or whatever on the ends, I can do that too. But this would have made more sense to decal this before I formed it. But it's always the case. But that gives a nice little finished edge that I like. So now I might just give this a little bit more shape. You can't see what I'm doing there. All right, so I'm good with that. I should have brass brushed this when I got it out. I can still do that. So I have okay, so that actually looks pretty nice. So I will punch a hole in it, and then I'm going to stick it in some liver of sulfur for a quick minute. Not even a minute, probably. I'm getting my liver of sulfur here. I hope I'm not showing you my armpit. You get what you get with me. Let's see here. Now, my regular tweezers to get those out. All right. Close that stinky stuff up. All right. You can smell it through the internet. Jennifer, you're so funny. Yeah, that stuff, man, it'll wake you up. If you pass out, wave some of that under your nose, you'll wake up. All right, so all my stuff. You know, it really looks, I should file this rounded. Actually, I think I'll snip it off a little bit. And then all right, I'll clean this up. 4O steel wool on my craft foam mat. If you want, you can seal this these pieces with Renaissance wax if you like. I generally don't seal my liver of sulfur pieces, I kind of like the way they patina as they age. But if they get too dark, which inevitably they will do, you can always hit it with the 4-0 steel wool again and clean it up. This one's getting stiff. I like these 2-hole punches. I prefer my 3 and 4-hole punches, the Eurotool ones. This just happened to be handy on the table, but they do tend to get stiff every now and then. But I've had those for a long time, so they've served me well. And you can get replacement ends on those too. So put this on here. That's not the best end, I'll tell you. I kind of like that rolled end a little bit better. I think it looks a little bit nicer. I'm going to just snip that off because that just doesn't look right to me. Okay, so that is that is your leaf there. And it's got nice veining in there. If you can see, the glare on here is not always great, but you know, like I said before, you can play around with the shape of this. You can flare it out a little bit more. You can make it a little bit more interesting if you like. I like to add little beads to the top, little dangles. I do that quite often. I just think I usually put these little dangles on just about everything I make. My bracelets and different things. I just think it's a cute little accent that I like. And these are just little 6-0 seed beads, little check seed beads that I wire wrap and put those on there. But you could put anything on there or not. You know, there's lots of design choices if you care to do that. All right, let's check on the heart. See how that's going. And then I'll check for any questions. Come on, gotta fish it out. All right. You just have to stand up. I'm just brass brushing the heart right now. It really could have stayed in a little bit longer, and that's okay. I can put it in later because I have to resolder this anyway. But at this point, I will decal those edges. Okay. Let's see down here. I probably should have deckled this before I put the washer on too. But you can get around just about anything, really, with this kind of work. It's not precision work. It's just kind of funky and whimsical, maybe a little bit, or organic. That term kind of covers a multitude of sins. You say, well, that's organic, and that's the look I was going for. Okay, so there's that, got that little shine on the edge, although it's going to be altered just a bit with the patina on it. And then I'm going to take my doming block, my wood doming block, and I'm just going to give this a slight dome. And then a dunk in the patina. Okay, that gives it a little bit of dimension there. Stick this in the liver of sulfur for a quick second. And I think what I'm going to do, I don't do this all the time, but I think I'm going to raffle these two off. Am I in the frame? The ones that I put on the demo, you know, to advertise for this. I think I will raffle these off. After I'm done with everything, I'll go on the group page and I will put a little contest out. We'll pick numbers. And I will pay shipping if it's domestic. And if it's out of the country, we'll split. So whatever that is. So, and then you can decide if you want me to add a patina on there. I will also put a hole and a jump ring on the top and maybe a few of those little dangles. And then you can do whatever you want to do with it when you get it. So that's, I think I'll do that. All right, so let's get the heart out of the patina. All right. Or you can pick the ones that we did today. It doesn't matter to me. So you can have a choice. All right. This has got the sunflower pattern on it. They're small. And even though I've patinaed it and stuff, I can still go in there and correct that solder on the back. That's not a big deal at all. Just takes a few minutes. And, you know, like I did in this other piece, you could certainly solder on some bezel cups and put little cabochons in there on anything. That would look kind of cute on this too, if you put maybe just even one, you know, or a larger one or whatever. But that's the way our projects came out for today. Okay, now I'm going to check for questions. And if you have any, please let me know. You can always post on the demo later. You know, you can always add a comment or whatever on there. Let's backtrack a little bit. Oh, Suzanne. Looks like the dog has rounded up a snake in the yard. I would die. I would die. I have a thing against snakes. I mean, I don't want to kill them or anything, but they make my skin crawl. I don't know why. My mother was terrified of snakes, and I think, I mean, I never really had any encounter with them, but other than seeing a garter snake, you know, you jump ship. Other than seeing a garter snake in the yard, you know, occasionally. Sorry about that. But oh, okay. What else? Sunny, where did you get the neural stamp? This particular one I got from, oh my goodness gracious, I got from Beaducation. I can put that on the resources too. I think I need to get a new stand. I'm so sorry. Hope it didn't give you a headache. Okay, so yeah, I got it from Beaducation. Bracelet, Wendy? You could make a bracelet with one of these pieces easily. Small ones for bracelet links. Yes, you could. Okay. Yeah, working with metal is a lot of fun. It's fun. Metal and glass, I like very much. Yeah, snakes. Ew. Okay. All right. I don't know if I've missed anybody. Where did I purchase the sanding stick, Ruth Ann? I got it on Amazon. I will add that to my resources. I'll put that on there. I will put, well, you'll have to look for a heart template. You could look on Amazon or just do a Google search and see if you can find that too. If there's anything else that I used, the skeleton leaves I got from Amazon. Let's see. Yeah, Jennifer, I use those white wheels a lot. I really like them. The knife edge is nice to get in those really tight spots, like around the base of a bezel cup, but they wear down really fast. You can what they call redress them, and with a stone, it's a particular kind of stone, you can angle these a little bit and you can get that knife edge back again. But I usually buy these in bulk because I blow through them pretty fast. And then we're back to the question of getting ready or getting on the group page. So there again, I'm going to work on that again, but if you guys can figure it out with me, that would be great. Sunny, I use my jewel tool for filing metal. 1, 2, 3. You know, I took the plunge. I drank the Kool-Aid with everybody else, and well, not everybody, but I mean a lot of people, and ordered one. I had a really big polishing lathe that was quite nice, but I didn't use it very much, and it took up a ton of space in here, and space is at a premium. So I decided if I could sell that, I would buy it. And I put the word out and sold it to the first person who asked about it. And I said, that's it, I'm buying my jewel tool. Although I spent a ton more on the jewel tool. But, you know, I should have it for a long, long time. So that'll be a new experience. My rolling mill is a Peppy, and I believe it's a 190. Yeah. It says 160 mm on it, but the model number is a 190A. So it's a nice one. It's a nice mill. Let's see here. Suzanne, you saw Francesca's post. Oh, that just killed me. I died. I died when I saw that. Okay. I am going to contact Kevin about the moose. Sorry, guys. Humor me. You know? Okay. All right. Oh, thank you, Sonny. I'm probably going to need help with the jewel tool. That's very foreign to me. I tried it once when I was in Tucson at Kevin Potter's open house. God, probably 4 or 5 years ago, and it was very busy and crowded, and I just gave it just a little try, and I really didn't get anything out of it because it was just not the right time or place for it. So I am going to learn it now. So yeah, thanks, Sonny. That's nice. Okay, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. You can look for the handout on the group file in the group files in a few minutes, and I will add those extra references on there, or resources, I mean. And see, I did it again. And next week, I think I'm going to attempt doing the enamel on the little dishes. A lot of you have expressed interest in that, so I'm going to try to find a way to make it doable to show you as I'm walking around here, because it's just the way it is. It's not something I can just sit and do. I have to get up and move around and show you guys as I'm doing that. So I'll attempt to do that, and if you have any other suggestions for demos in the future, just let me know. Tell your friends about the group page if there are people that like to do this sort of thing. We'll fatten up our group numbers a little bit. Make sure you post your projects. You guys still are not posting much on there. I'd really like to see what you do. So even if it's not, what I was demoing, you saw, made something cool that you want to brag on yourself a little bit, that'd be great. We'd all like to see it. So please share. And I will see you on Facebook. I will also put the information about a drawing for the 2 pieces that we did today, either the ones that were on the advertisement or the 2 that actually I made here today. It's your choice. Okay, so see you guys. Thanks for joining me. And one last thing, Sonny, you'd like to learn to do a pin. Well, I will see what I can do about that. Okay? All right, guys. See you next week. Bye-bye.